Right, I'm on ICC here, so I'm going to try and fit in a game of rapid chess. I'll only have a provisional rating thing, I believe right now I do. So good luck. My opponent has got an established rating there. There's no provisional symbol, is there? I'm not sure how many games I need to play to get an actual rating. What do I want to do? Let's go G3, just so we're trying to, we're going to say not have complete symmetry, but we're kind of actually going into that just about. What do we want to do? Let's just move the rook across and prepare to push the pawn, why not? But it is 10 minutes this, so you don't want to play it too quickly. Yeah, comes forward, so we could trade. It's very much transposing to an e4 game. Do I ignore this? I'm going to play c3 initially and maybe try and get the bishop up, something like this. We can still potentially take. Okay, he's cut out the bishop move. So what about bishop here? Knight down. I could push, but it's going to get bogged down. Go more like a King's Indian then. But I need my bishop into the game. What do I want to do? I'm looking at pawn up to go here as well, but could give us some issues here. Knight down. Actually, I'm just going to go here, yeah. Well, I might be blundering a pawn, actually. Why did I do that? If he takes, can I take here something like this? He's got takes, hasn't he? Yeah, I might have just simply blundered a pawn, not paying attention. That's very bad, isn't it? I think he can actually just simply take, but he does go after the bishop instead. Knight up doesn't look good. Let's just develop the queen. Oh, hold on again here. If you take, I could go with the knight. Maybe knight down's a bit of a nuisance though. Let's just see what our opponent does and then worry about it, shall we? Get the cursor off the board so there's no accidental slips. Very, very bored. So I think I want to start opening things up now. Does it matter which pawn I go with? I'm leaning towards this one first. It's dangerous to ignore it and allow the push, isn't it? So I think I'm going to have to go with this one. Knight out wide might be a move. Maybe we just take here. But knight out wide, we can come this way as well. I'm going to do that actually, because we hit the pawn and the bishop. I don't think he'll take the knight, but I'll pre-move just in case. Okay, he's gone back. So do we want to push on, or do we want to take? Or do we want to grab this pawn? It's got to be the pawn, isn't it? But he can take here as well. And I can't easily take back, so do I have to go here? But then you guard. Here I hit the rook, so what do you do? Something like this. But can I then throw a check in? If I take rook down, I might have to spend a move coming back. You can take here. But I guess I can just drop the queen back. Yeah, I'm going to go for it. If he ends up taking here, I think I'll just drop back and allow this sort of idea. Oh, he's played rook across. Okay, well then I'm going to have to push on. I'm going to have to push on there. So it's a little bit more bogged down now, but I've got my knight, or I can now trade it. I think I'll just trade there and develop my other knight. But this file is very vulnerable now. I'll probably have to bring a rook back. Very vulnerable to them annoying rooks. Knight in the middle is probably better than bishop in the middle. What do we do? What do we do? I'm probably going to have to shuffle back, but then you could walk into this sort of nonsense, so I might need c4 as well. It's very awkward. Oh, the bishop's come forward, so is he encouraging me to play bishop up here? Because I'd be very happy to trade these two off. That takes a lot of pressure off the position, I think, so I'm going to go there, but I'll take with a knight if he takes. I don't think he will, but he could. Down, I guess I could just drop back, but I don't want to repeat. And he'll know that. And I think I'll just plant the knight in the middle if he does indeed take. I don't think he will, but he might. Yeah, if I can get the knight on e4, it guards f2 as well. And I am 30 seconds down on the clock here. Okay, so we have got the knight here, so we're guarding here as well. So again, if we could get the queen off, that would be good. I guess for now, we just want to try and guard this and maybe rook across. If he pushes, there's a target here. So he's gone with that pawn, so I will guard that as well. He's obviously seen the fact that d6 would hang. So he won't push this one, allowing the knight to jump in. But I'm still going to have to come across somewhere, depending on what my opponent does. Excuse me, he's gone across. So I think we need to meet that. But of course, once he gets rook on f8, there's permanent pressure on f2. But with the knight on e4, it doesn't feel too bad. No. I can't go here, can I? I don't want to take, so I'm probably going to have to push and he'll likely go across. So I think I need to meet a rook with a rook, and then I can double up, or I can bring the pawn across if he takes potentially. So I'll have to double up. At some point I want to push forward, of course, but right now my pawn would vanish and then the other one would go as well. But neither of us have to take the rook because pawns guard, but what do I do if I don't take the rook though? a4 might be a move to threaten a5. What else have I got? Not easy to see, is it? Not easy to see. I might need king forward to prepare queen over. I'm looking at that sort of concept. Just so I can try and offer a queen trade, and that should be good, I think. And we're up a pawn. These pawns are all on light squared, so the bishop isn't an issue, but it's still going to be very difficult to create winning chances. I don't see how I get the knight on e6. I don't see a path forward there. Like I say, king g2, queen f3. Maybe we can try and get forward a little bit. But it's not easy, is it? Let's just get our markings off the board. I'm wondering whether I might have actually g4, drop the knight back to g3 with a view to going to f5. That could be a nice square. But it risks blowing my king's defences wide open. But knight g3 to f5, it would be a lovely square if I can get the knight there and get it protected. But is it just silly? Is it just too dangerous, too risky? Yeah, he's played queen across. So now if I come over, I guess you just simply come back. So king up might still be a move, and then everything's pretty solid here. We're preparing a push. Maybe he wants us to push there. But I can't go g4 now. Okay, let's push the king up. Just so we prepare this concept, even if we don't get a chance to do it now. Okay, he's moved across, but now can we start taking a risk and pushing forward? Threaten to open another file up, but it does really weaken this, doesn't it? So maybe I go this way instead. Trade, 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 trade. My knight is then loose, isn't it? That's a problem. I'm going to go here and actually prepare this then. I'm going to see if I can prepare this, but it does run into this potential serious issue. And I don't want to play f3. That would be very weakening. If you imagine the rooks and the queen can gang up on the pawn. But g4 to jump the knight round would be nice if I can do it without collapsing that position. Yeah, he's headed that off immediately. But now does he give me a chance to come this way then? Queen up now, queen takes with a check, so that's no good. I'm going to have to try and fix that, but they're on dark squares. That's a bit of a problem. But I do have knight across here now, I think. So I'm going to play it. I think I'm doing okay here. I might not be, but I think I'm okay to trade here, so I'm going to risk it. Whether I can keep this pawn is another matter altogether. Very risky, isn't it? Has he got a good square? You can throw a check in. I think I sidestep, but no, I'm going to have to try and play f4. So I'll do that immediately, run the risk of him pushing on. But I've got to try and keep these pawns intact. He's taken. Okay. So do we trade now? If the rooks come off, it feels like I should be better. But does it matter which square I go on? Here? I think I come here, with a view to coming across eventually, but I might have to simply trade a rook. Okay. So what if I come across now? Takes, he just simply takes, doesn't he? Yeah, there's nothing much for me here, is there actually? He's done really well here. Seriously well. So if I take a rook, I'm going to have to take the rook. Now, what does he do? He's gone with a pawn, and that frees my rook up to come across, maybe. So here, if he defends, can I come here and just push? I think I can. I'm going to try and push this pawn and use it as a distractor. Whoa, he's just taken straight away. That just loses on the spot. He's just grabbed the pawn far too quickly. It just loses on the spot. He just didn't use any time. Okay, so I need to use time here, but I can just zigzag the king. He just moved far too quick there at the wrong moment. Okay, so we just have to be sensible here. So let's just give a check. Let's give another check. Eventually we'll be able to check and win the rook, you would think. How do I do it? Am I going to lose this? Check, takes. Yeah, I think I'll just check here, then check here and go after this pawn if I don't see anything better. I assume eventually I'll be able to win the rook, but I don't know. But as long as I've got a queen, I should be fine. As long as I don't blunder something stupid. Oh, he's trading there. Oh, that should finish it, shouldn't it? I mean, I've got to check here first. But I want that pawn. That's what I'm targeting. Check, down, check, check. Yeah, I think I'll check here, then I'll actually get a check here and go after this one. Yeah, if he gets this pawn, it's still a bit awkward actually, isn't it? I'm going to try and guard my pawn. I want to try and keep my pawn here and then go after his king. Or go after this pawn, then his king. Check. So check here. Now let's just get behind the pawn, not mess about. And then I'll go after this pawn with my king. Yeah. And then keep this intact. If he pushes, I'll have to take, but the queen is going to settle it. Right, no, it's good. No, it's all good. I should have maybe gone behind his pawn there straight away, but I'm still fine. You just try not to throw in any sloppy blunders here. Nothing wrong with him playing on just in case I do blunder something. It does happen, but I've got 3 minutes. So I should be fine. It doesn't mean I will be, but I should be. Famous last words, of course. Right, you're just making sure the king's got at least one legal move, and then you just want to trap it on the side of the board somewhere. So we just go here. Let's just move the king. We just want the king on the side somewhere, and then bring our king in for the checkmate. Right, so we've got that now, so you have to go obviously this way. It'll be checkmate next move. There's a checkmate. Very good. So we've managed to win another rapid game. Let's see how we played it in engine language. Right, we've got the game ready to run in lichess now, so we just request analysis and see how we actually played this. We were white this game, but if you need to flip the board for black, just press the menu button and flip the board. It felt like it was a close game just until he moved a little bit too quickly there. at the very end, and it just settled the game. Obviously subject to not blundering it away, of course, but let's just see. Yeah, it's round about here then. And it just goes to completely winning just like that when I got to push my pawn. A little bit up and down, a little bit up and down, so there's some mistakes, excuse me. Well, actually, it is a bit down, isn't it? Plus 3.4. So we played the game on the whole pretty decently. We've had a little blip in the opening here where we've lost a point. So what were our figures? 93% versus 87%, CPL 24 and 40. So this is, let's see what happened here. Yeah, you should have taken the pawn here instead of taking here. And I should have actually taken the pawn first before playing knight out wide. Okay, so I should have taken the pawn first before thinking about knight to h4. Then bishop back was a blunder, so we took the pawn correctly. It's not flagging anything much for us here, is it? So we played it pretty well. But in this position, it's come back down. So what did we do wrong here? We should have just dropped the queen back instead of playing knight across. And we should have taken with a pawn there instead of the queen. So it's now close, well, under a pawn difference, close to level. But you should have brought your king forward there instead of taking the pawn. And now it's 1.3. And in a few moves' time, it's just that taking the pawn. Yeah, so opponent should have, what's this? Oh no, I should have taken opponent's rook here straight away instead of coming forward. And then in this position, my opponent just simply went wrong, played too quickly, and just simply missed the fact that I'm going to run a pawn down the board. And that's the losing blunder. So what's the best line there? Rook to a3 check, of course, because I have to come back over somewhere. You can take the pawn with check. I come back up and then you can drop back and get behind my pawn. So that's what you should have done there, but I was still actually slightly better. But from this moment, it's just then a formality subject to not messing up and throwing a silly blunder in somewhere, of course. But try to keep the pawn on the board. Yeah, with correct play, it could have been much more difficult to convert, and then from this point it's just a case of not messing it up. So we converted pretty well, but obviously on another day it could have gone the other way, so very good.